wherever you are. I'm here on Kangaroo Island in South Australia, which for those of you who want to see the map of the world, we're right down the bottom. And maps are a big part of what we're going to be doing today. So it's fantastic to have you all here. And so I just want to acknowledge the country that I'm on. So Kangaroo Island is known as Kata and is a land that's recognised by Wurundjeri, Ngarrindjeri and Kaurna peoples. So if you know what First Nations land you're on, if you wouldn't mind popping that into the chat, so we can all get to see who has arrived from whatever part of this incredible little blue dot that we all live on. And I'm going to ask my crew here in Kangaroo Island just to give a big wave, and then they're going to be very, very quiet. Fantastic. It's lovely to have everyone from everywhere. We've got a very special time together. So for the next hour, we're going to be a community. And I need to get a glass of water. Hang on. There we go. It's really cool how I can just zip in and zip out. And I'd really like to acknowledge too for the support of the Kangaroo Island Business Hub, who have enabled today to be here. So we've got people here in this part of the world that are local female founders, leaders, community, citizen leadership, and people from business world generally, and in government too, in local government and in state government. So it's fantastic to have people here. And I've also got some of my friends from the Entrepreneurship Advisory Board for South Australia. So they can wave their hands around too if you can see them in the background somewhere. I can see them there. Fantastic. So this morning, what we're going to be doing is having an opportunity for people to experience some SheEO magic. And for those of you who are new to SheEO, I don't know if we can see all of you on the screen. I'm just going to see if I can get a gallery view up. Yes. If you are new to SheEO and this is your very first time ever call, can you wave your hands around wildly so we can see you and welcome you? Nicole, Amanda, Shannon, excellent waving there. Who else have we got on some of the other screens? Fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. And it's great for all of those who have brought your friends to today's event. We're loving to see, love to see you all. So we'd like to begin with also letting you have a chance to give us 2 words of how you're feeling this morning. And the 2-word technique is sometimes we're feeling, you know, happy and sad, or excited and tired. Those things can go together. These are not mutually exclusive things. So thanks, Renee. She's popped into the chat the 2-word Mentimeter. And if you wouldn't mind just telling us how you're feeling right now, and we can see the screen and how that's going. Oh, look at all of those interesting words. Distracted, excited, tired, playful, content, energized, fabulous, exhausted, few more, that looks great, intrigued, grateful, love it, it's really great. Thank you so much, and keep those words going. And Nat and Jessie and Renee are our support team today, so I'm going to ask them to also wave so you know who they are. We cannot do it without them as our wonderful backbone. We usually have activator calls once a week around the world, and depending on what community you're in. And so if you've been on an activator call before in your own local area, do you want to just maybe put a little emoji into the reaction, like a little thumbs up, so we can get to see that this is great. Jessie's getting very excited there. At any moment now, she will be doing screenshots, so just be prepared for that. Keep your smile on and your radical generosity heart visible. That'd be great. We're going to be doing a few things. I'm going to talk a little bit about SheEO and just explain why I'm in and why it's important to me. Then we're going to be launching something that we've been working on behind the scenes for the last few months. And then we've got Candace, who I can see online, Candace Party. She's going to share the venture that she's working on in beautiful land of the long white cloud and the job loads, and we'll hear about that. Then you'll have a chance to be in breakout rooms and talk to each other, because that's really where the magic happens. And then we're going to hear from Nicola Palmer, who is up very, very early in Western Australia because the sun starts there. And she'll be saying a few words to us about it as well before we finish up. with some input from Jessie. So why is SheEO important to me? This is a great question. So I've been involved in SheEO in Australia since it began and here in our part of the land, but I was already stalking what was happening with Vicky and the work that SheEO was doing around the world, because I was looking for a way to make my contribution bigger than just me. So that was what was really driving me. I wanted to see how I could be joining with others to have more of an impact with my small contribution. I'm not a venture capitalist. I don't have oodles of money in my bank. I'm just an ordinary, I would say just an ordinary mum. I had 4 kids. I've got a 6-year-old grandson. But I'm really interested in gender equity at every level. I want to make sure that we all have the fairest future for our generation and also for the next generations. And so that's what started to motivate me. What could I do that could add my input into everyone else's? So that got me started. And then I found where could I do that best? And for me, that was definitely going to be SheEO, because it had already started. That was a relief. I didn't have to make a start on my own. And also it was part of a global movement. And for me, this is about that we actually move the world. We are shifting the conditions. I'm not interested in just doing a few tweaks and reforms, something that might just change something. We need a new system, because there's something definitely wrong in the world when there are, 5 men who actually earn more than 75% of the world's income. There's something not working. So the system's not working for most of us, men and women, and it's certainly not working for the future generations. So that's what got me into it. And I think there are 3 kind of values that can translate into behaviours that really resonate for me in SheEO. And that's radical generosity. And it's not just about the money. It's about the networks, the relationships. It's about the way we show up for each other. The second thing is what I call sympathetic joy. And that's the pleasure we get with other people having so much success. And literally on our calls, we hear all sorts of things. And this week on the Australian call, we heard a woman sharing her story for winning a battle that's been going on for more than 2 years for her in the family court. That's critical. In the same way, we hear from someone who also was making a recommendation to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and yet another person who had a very small financial win, but it was going to be the difference between going from one start part of a business to the next bit. And so for me, these are feminist principles about the personal is political. We are not separate from the systems that we are all a part of, and the systems that exist now aren't the ones that we need for the future. So for me, that's radical generosity, sympathetic joy, and the third one is gratitude. And I'm grateful every day for the SheEO community. And if you are new to the community, you'll get to see and feel what that actually is like, to get some of that resonance coming back to you. Everything, I'm a singer, so any of you who are in choirs, you know that call and response is what it's all about. And so in gratitude, we get this chance to have this really important exchange between what we call for and what we need. And we'll get to practice a little about that, because that's embedded into the SheEO way of doing business with our Ask Gives. So SheEO is not a business network for women, it's a community. And in community, you have different kinds of obligations and relationships, and that we have different roles for one another. And some of those roles are as activators and some of those are as ventures. And there are a few ventures here today, and we're going to hear from Candace shortly. The long-term objective for SheEO is actually to have a $1 billion perpetual fund that is circulating the world and shifting the conditions in which women and our whole planet are being challenged for the future. And that's why everything's linked to our Sustainable Development Goals. So it's not an optional extra. We're embedding these principles and values and practices into the way SheEO does business. So that's why it's important to me. And I'm really so wonderfully supported by everyone in SheEO, both in the international headquarters, which are distributed around the world, and also by the community of people that just show up for me all the time. So That's what SheEO is important to me. And if Vicky Saunders was here, and unfortunately she's unable to be with us, but it's for a fantastic reason, because she's getting a prize. So we want to celebrate that. So I'm going to wonder if you wouldn't mind just putting in, so that when Vicky watches this, we can give her a round of applause. So if you've got an emoji round of applause that you can, or something to do it, please do that, so that when she comes back to watch it, she gets to see us celebrating her as well. That's great. So now there's a drum roll for our launching of our co-creation, our Credo project. So Jessie, I'm wondering if you can help me with those slides. So I want to introduce you to this project. And so once upon a time, there was an idea that we would perhaps create a way of making visible some of these great stories we hear every single week. And the Credo is, if you like, our manifesto of what our beliefs are. So I think we've got that on the next slide, the words of the Credo, Jessie. And I'm going to read them out loud, but I'm also going to ask you to read them as well out loud, because we won't do it with you putting the coming off mute, because it will be a few delays. But if you wouldn't mind joining me in reading this out loud, because this is, for me, the Credo is something that I literally go back to every single day. I've got it parked up by my computer, and I get to think when I'm feeling like, I think, oh no, hang on, I'm a SheEO person. What can I do to help ground me right now? So at SheEO, we practice radical generosity, which we believe is core to creating a new model and a better world. We have all that we need in this network to reach our potential. If you need something, ask. If you have something to give, please offer it. And we're all at different stages and ages, and we come from different experiences. We're here with our sleeves rolled up, ready to help one another. And this is a co-created environment built on trust. We are creating a space for women to thrive on their own terms. We take our time and we consider the future. We celebrate and embolden each other. We amplify each other's voices, and we own our greatness. So that's what we're about. So with this project was to see, are there lines in the Credo that really resonate for people? And so if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, Jessie. And co-creation is one of these things that's actually deeply built into SheEO as well. And earlier this week, the Aussies had an opportunity to connect with MJ, who's one of the guides for SheEO. And she told us about the definition of co-creation. And this is exactly what happened in this project. It's a process of thinking with one or more people, and you might end up somewhere where you didn't think you were going to end up because of the feedback you've got. So if we can go to the next slide. So where we started was with a blank book. We thought we were going to write a book. We thought we were going to have this fabulous thing that people could download and read at their leisure, and it would be just chock-a-block full of stories. And that's where we started. And then when we started to go through the co-creation process, and we were very influenced by a number of us who had done the Racial Justice Working Group. And we started to realise that some of the things that we were thinking about were privileging and coming from a white privileged point of view in particular. So the privileging of the word, the privileging of a narrative that is static, and also the idea that perhaps we might not be writing something that's going to last forever. We wanted something that could be built on. And so we started with the blank pages of a book, and then we went to, next slide, please. We started doing this co-creation process, and we realised that absolutely everything was connected, that we, in our trying to invite other people to join us in this journey, we were practicing our asks, and we were building community. And choosing a line was really, really hard because everything felt it was connected. Next slide. There we go. So we thought we would go for a map. Because again, with racial justice, this was very much, there were no lines on the map, unlike the colonists, the settler folk like me, who draw all lines, and some of you as old as me will know that there was red bits and green bits and blue bits and yellow and orange bits on the map of the world. And really in SheEO, we're one community. We are not divided by the boundaries that perhaps other men in particular and explorers have made for us. But we are one universal, and unfortunately with a flat screen, we can't get the full experience of this beautiful blue dot circling in our universe. So we realise that we're not quite as, maybe this will become an AR tool in the future, but right for now it's a map. And the reason we got to a map, and it was because of some of those things, but also because we had the benefit of a fabulous woman who can't be with us this morning, called Dr. Karen Joyce. So Karen lives in northern Queensland, and she is a drone and environmental scientist. And she said, I think we need a map because that would do everything. We went, oh my God, that's exactly right. So big shout out to Karen and for all her help. And what we noticed is that once we started doing that, it meant that we could actually open up and we weren't stuck just with words. We could actually have content that was film. We could have content that was photographs. We could have some interpretive dance video if necessary, or a poem. So that meant that it freed up all of those things that perhaps have been holding us back when we were thinking just about a book. So I do want to throw to Jen Batley, who's around somewhere on here. And Jen, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a few words about what it was like for you being in the project.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Jen Batley. I'm joining from Ottawa, Canada, the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. I was really excited to join Moira in this project as one of several who owned or led a line in bringing the Credo to life. And it was a lot of fun and very rewarding to be part of the evolution of the project as well. As Moira said, we moved from what we all initially thought was going to be creating a book into creating something very different. And as you saw looking at the map, and I hope you all click on the link, it's dynamic. It lets us bring in a lot of different kinds of content. And it was also really gratifying and rewarding to see not just the core team, but all of the people that we reached out to ask to participate with us, move along with us from that initial expectation to something very different. And I know for me, I actually chose the line, if you need something, ask, which for me is maybe the most difficult line of the Credo. I'm not used to asking for help. I have not enjoyed asking for help in the past, but it's one of the most rewarding things that I'm learning to do. And I got to practice that by asking others to make contributions to the map, and was, as I always am with this community, really just so pleasantly surprised at the quick response and the really genuine contributions that people made to build out this map and build out the Credo.
Thanks, Jen. Jen, is there anything that you would encourage people to do as we're going to, I'm going to explain the little map in a minute, but is there anything you'd like to share about the ease of it or the difficulty of it?
Yeah, I would just say don't be intimidated when you look at the map and the dots on it. It is really very easy to add your pin. So would encourage everyone to go and take a look. Click on the pins that are on there. You know, there are pins representing every line of the Credo from all over the world. There's some concentrations, I think, where some of the line leads were, but we're starting to see pins pop up in other places. And then if you have a contribution, if there's a part of the Credo that really resonates with you, please add your story, your image, your poem, your link, and help us really fill out the map and make this really the living and evolving representation that it should be of what is so fantastic about this community.
Thank you so much. And in the link, we have just popped a video, like a 6-minute tutorial with Karen, who explains it step by step what to do. But I'm wondering if we can just also pop the map up itself so that everyone can see it in the, so you can see Renee's just popped the link in. But I'm wondering if we can share the screen just to see the map in its fullest on that link. That would be great. Thanks, Jessie. So you'll see on the map, yeah, fabulous. Fine. We want to see the whole world, even someone in Antarctica. That would be great. And you'll be able to just drop your pin in. You'll be able to add some information. You can also connect to your LinkedIn profile. And one of the things that we're really hoping to do is that over time, you'll be able to comment on each other's, things that you've learnt, opportunities that you might want to share with other people. We're encouraging you not to put your actual street address in there, but as you can see, we can open it up and you can zoom it in and zoom it out, and it just looks fantastic. I'm very, very excited about what this can be. So even some of you might be able to just click on the link right now and do something right now, but you don't need to. This is our big reveal moment, and I'm hoping over the next few months it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we can be sharing this with the whole world. We've been talking to SheEO HQ, thanks Jessie, and we're going to be building this opportunity and reminder into the reactivation timeframe. So, you know, a month or so before you consider reactivating, you can have a moment to reflect on what it is that has made a difference for you. So I'm going to be handing over now to Candice Party and just thank everyone who's been involved in the co-creation project. There's been about 40 or 50 people. Huge shout out to all of them, and especially the hosts of each line, who I called the Heavenlies. I made a collective noun for them. So that's great. And we're coming over now to Candice Party. So kia ora, Candice, and would you love to share what's been happening in jobs boards for you?
Kia ora, Moira, tēnā koutou katoa, ko Hukirangi te maunga, ko Aipu te awa, ko Harauta te waka, ko Hinepare te marae, ko ngā te prau te iwi, ko Candice Party ahau, no Aotearoa me te taira whiti, ko au te kaiwhakau me kaiwhakahaere o kamupene job loads. Warm greetings to everyone. I'm Candice Party from Gisborne, a small little East Coast town in New Zealand. And I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Job Loads, where we believe there's dignity in every job and people can find their mana, their respect at work. And we're a digital labour supply marketplace. I'm our Indigenous Māori CEO and founder, and I was proudly voted in as a 2020 SheEO New Zealand venture. And yeah, I actually started Job Loads after experiencing firsthand the difficulties that growers face sourcing good, reliable labour on my own orchard. But I also had to balance that. I could see that there were a lot of inequities that existed in the system, and a lot of the temporary labour that we were using in the industry were not being treated fairly. And so I could really empathise with both sides. And so at Job Loads, our mission is all about upholding this mana, your respect of one another and your power of people in the workplace, and really making every job experience tika and right. Right now, what's happening with us at Job Loads, we're currently paying our workers 10.8% more than the average worker that gets paid in the industry in New Zealand right now. We've recently launched a first free light iteration of Job Loads, and it exceeded its target to sign up 1,000 job seekers in its first 90 days by 50%, which was really exciting. And many large corporate growers and pack houses have now signed up to our platform, which has listed more than 1 million hours of work. And so it's been a really exciting time. But as a Māori woman entrepreneur, really for me, becoming a SheEO venture has been real life changing. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but really SheEO activators have been my shield, and they've had my back, and they've stood up for me, and they've really pushed me to dream bigger and bolder, because particularly during the capital raising phase, I really struggled with it, just because I really felt like, you know, from the get-go, you know, a lot of people were trying to undervalue our business, and I went out and put a $4 million pre-money valuation for job loads, and it was a lot higher than what the market had expected, and you know, I was so lucky that, you know, I had the activators to support me, and we actually secured that pre-money valuation, which is just unheard of, with the support of activators like Teresa Gatting in New Zealand. And we went on to raise 619K in that first round. And now, with the support of one of our activators, Kirsty Reynolds, and Icehouse Ventures here in New Zealand, I'm now launching our seed investment round, which is raising $2 million on a pre-money valuation of $8 million. And I have really our SheEO network and our activator community to thank for that. It's been amazing. So I thought I might share an ask today. I'd love for anyone who's interested to please join me next Tuesday, the 8th of June at 12 noon, New Zealand Standard Time. And we can send out a note about it as well, where we're just having a conversation about our capital raise. And I'm going to present the investment opportunity to anyone who wants to hear about it. Yeah, I just thought, you know, we've received such wonderful support from our SheEO investors in the past, and yeah, would like to offer it up for anyone who'd like to join us. And we have minimum checks of 5K for this round, New Zealand dollars. So yeah, would love for anyone to jump on. Now is the time for us to create a global community of workers, growers and pack houses. And together we will elevate industry standards and the ability for workers to move from minimum wage to full-time employment. Kia ora.
Yeah, thank you so much, Candice. We really... There's a bit of love in the room here, and I'm sure that's true everywhere in Zoom land. All the very, very best for the next stage, and know that we have your back and we're with you every step of the way. Please, others, amplify Candice's message and share her story wherever you can on your socials, and take her up on those opportunities to connect in. We are now, as Candice beautifully demonstrated to us, what an ask looks like. And we're going to now go into some breakout rooms. And today we've got a specific question that we'd love you to be thinking about with one another. What's blocking you from doing your best work? And what is the things that get in the way? So we're going to do that here in the room. And Jessie, how long have we got? Have we got about 15 minutes? Is that right?
We're going to go for 22 minutes.
22 minutes. So that means, and how many people in each room, Nat, have we got?
There's going to be about 5 to 7 people per room. Lots of time to be able to get to know each other.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a few instructions. Get to know each other. So say at least your name, and if you're new to SheEO, or if you're been a regular and active member for a while as part of the community, just share that. And then the question for each of you, so a couple of minutes each, on what's blocking you from doing your best work. And then through the magic of Zoom, Nat's going to throw us into different rooms. We're going to be in small groups here, and I'll see you on the other side in about 20 minutes. I hope you've had a fantastic conversation. We have had lots of fabulous conversations here. I'm just wondering if there's someone from your group that would like to put into the chat your summary of what you talked about. And if you could create it as a movie title, even better. So we've got 4 movie titles here, and I'm just going to ask them to come and show their movie title in front of you because they can't pop it into the chat. So off we go. Who's the first one? Come closer. Oh, big picture. picture the day I ate the frog. What else have we got? Fake it till you make it, overcoming the imposter syndrome. And then the last one is $1 Million Baby. And I can see some fabulous ones in the chat as well. Truly, madly, deeply. I can resonate with that one. So keep them coming, pop them into the chat. And I'm sure that the amazing team of Nat, Renee, and Jessie will perhaps do something with this as a fabulous way of recording what we learnt. Pay it forward, a beautiful mind. I quite like that. Business needs more play. I'm guessing that Julie Trell might have been in that group. So let's just keep them coming. That's fantastic. And I want to do a big shout out to all the facilitators there. I think there were 18 rooms altogether. So thank you to the 17 other facilitators who helped you have those conversations about what might be getting you stuck in these days. If you want to connect with one another, please do that as well through the LinkedIn. So now it's my deeply pleasure to also hand over to Nick. So Nick's going to share a little bit about why she's in SheEO and what's important to her. And as I said before, it's early in the morning for her in Western Australia. So over to you, Nick.
Hi, everyone. The sun has come out, so that's great. It's not too bad, but I'm really happy to join morning calls. So my name is Nicola Palmer. I'm a gay, cis, very privileged woman living on Wajak Noongar lands, also known as Perth. And I just wanted to tell you a bit about why I joined SheEO. So in the first instance, it was about giving. So I saw this incredible platform, this way that system change is going to be created. And I was like, it's people, it's planet, it's women and non-binary folks. That makes absolute sense to me. I don't even need to think twice about it. So I activated, I knew that this would continue to have a positive impact on my world, on the world around me for years to come. So that totally made sense. What I was surprised by was how much I have gained. I sort of, I activated and was like, oh, great, that's going to keep going and have a beautiful impact. But it's sort of like the byproduct is the giving part. What I have gained is a space to be myself. And I never thought that in a professional sense of growing business and working on the sustainable development goals, there was also space for my individual person and for me to be creative and to bring my spirituality. And so I'm shocked by that these two worlds that I thought were separate could be merged. It's also been an incredible opportunity to explore really challenging things. So the Racial Justice Working Group was mentioned before, and I feel like that was kind of the tip of the iceberg, because since then we've been able to have more discussions about racism, and I just feel really humbled and honoured to be able to do that in real time with people. I don't think there are very many opportunities to do that in online communities, and I'm very grateful for that. There is a genuine kindness and generosity. Moira talked earlier about radical generosity, and it is real. It's so real. And one last thing is that SheEO is evolving and growing all the time. So there's nothing about this that is stagnant. And I just really want to be a part of this progressive movement for change and taking everybody with us. It's a really inclusive place to be. I'm going to wrap there because I know I've gone over time, but if you're really ready to be held while you step into your greatness, SheEO is the place to do that. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Nick, and it's wonderful being in community with you. Isn't it great we've got our own live audience cheer squad today? Just so you get a chance to feel the vibe. And Nick, if people want to become and have that experience, Jessie's going to show a little bit about how to actually do that. So over to you, Jess.
I was just going to say that was completely deserving of a round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing, Nick. And as you were speaking, I was writing so many quotes that we can share later. So if you are interested, if you were moved by Nick like I was, I would love to show you to highlight a few core experiences that you can be part of if you choose to activate. We know that you have heard a lot today, and indeed there are a lot of different ways that you can participate in the SheEO community, but here are some core elements to the activator experience. So the first is that when you activate, you get welcomed in, and you can choose to participate in a group activator welcome call and or a one-on-one coffee chat with amazing activators like Moira or Nick. Every week in the community, as Moira mentioned at the beginning of the call, we do weekly community calls, one per region. It's a great chance to hear updates from ventures, to meet other activators, to practice asks and gives, and to get support. Every year when the ventures apply to SheEO, every activator gets a chance to participate in 2 rounds of online voting to help select the ventures. We trust your intuition and the intuition of hundreds of activators to decide where our money and our support will go as a community. Once per year, we host an annual summit where we get to meet the ventures we just funded and selected. We get to learn from thought leaders in the SheEO community about mindset shifts and systems change. And it's an amazing time to be together and to create the change we need to see in the world. And finally, working on the world's to-do list. This is really core to SheEO. So whether you join a venture deep dive or a working group like the SheEO Racial Justice Working Group, we have everything we need to create the change that we want to see in the world. One thing to note is that your participation as an activator is on your own terms. So these are some core elements that we've highlighted, and there are more ways to participate as well if you'd like to get involved, such as our Ask and Give platform, our working groups, our online community, and learning circles. If you do want to activate, Renee's going to drop the link in the chat. It's very simple. Just select your region and your payment option, monthly or annual. As you can see here, monthly payments are $92 per month. Annual is $1,100. And as soon as you sign up, you enter your name and your email, you'll immediately be part of the SheEO community and be invited to start participating in some of our calls, events, and learning opportunities as well. So with that, we're going to launch a quick poll. We'd love to hear how you'd like to get involved with the SheEO community. So the poll has now popped up in front of you. Let us know, did you meet women and non-binary folks on today's call that you'd like to keep in touch with? How are you interested in getting involved? Would you like to activate, reactivate? Venture applications are now open in Australia and New Zealand through July 16th. So please, please, if you're a woman or non-binary entrepreneur working on the world's to-do list, definitely apply. And for those who are interested in activating, and maybe you have more questions, let us know if you'd like to have a one-on-one coffee chat with an existing activator to learn more. I know we're over time, so very, very quickly here, I'm going to invite you to all come on camera. We're going to take our SheEO tradition to take a few group photos. And then tomorrow I'm going to do a LinkedIn recap post and tag you all so we can amplify the SheEO magic that we created together. So if you need to, I see some of you are rearranging your hair. I'd love to invite you all to share a gesture with how you're feeling. I'm feeling deeply inspired by the Credo Map Project, Moira and everyone in Kangaroo Island, Nick, Candice, you are so amazing. So let's see those gestures. How's everyone feeling? We have 3 screens. So 1, 2, 3. And on screen number 2, let's see those poses. 1, 2, 3. And the third screen. Loving the smiles. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to pass it back to you, Myra.
Okay, I'm just going to do a big cheer from Kangaroo Island. Everyone behind me, cheer! Yay! Thanks, Jessie. Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Nat. Really appreciate everyone being on the call today. Look after yourselves and see you again, and hope to meet new people in the SheEO community soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day or evening.
Goodbye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.